how to secure funding for a small business. It's a big deal, really big deal. Everybody's talking about funding. Everybody needs funding, especially if you're a new business. But I don't care if you've been in business, if you've been in existence for a while, you still need funding. It's a continual thing. It's like money is never going to be something that you don't need. So it's always going to be a need for money in your account, especially in your business bank account if you're expecting your business to grow. So very glad that you could hop on the call tonight. Everybody that's here that's going to be joining us. I'm going to do a few different screen shares, talk about some basics for you to help you secure funding for your small business, tell you where you can begin to look for some funding for your small business, and not just where to look, but how you can actually acquire it. Another housekeeping item I'm gonna drop here in the chat is just for since we got people joining in now, is for everyone to mute their lines until we get to the end of the call, because we should probably have several people joining us. Line as you join the call. All right. And so if you have not done so, if you're here, make sure you check the chat box for a couple of house cleaning items. If you could drop your name in the chat, let me know you're here. Questions, drop those in the chat also. And before we finish, I want to spend at least about 15 to 20 minutes just getting to answer questions that anybody has about this, because it's a really, really big subject. So without further ado, I'm going to go ahead and get into the presentation, which I'm hoping and I'm sure is going to be helpful to some folks on the call today. Let me make sure I'm showing you the right screen here. Oh yeah. Here we go. So first thing that I want to talk about is, what would you actually do with money if you had it? Now, the thing about this, it gets tricky because we start talking about your mindset around money and how that works with your business, right? And of course, if you're like most people, when we get money, the first thing that we want to do is pay things off. We want to pay off bills, and that's not necessarily what we should do. So we always run toward alleviating ourselves of some type of pain. That's personal when you get money for yourself. If you've ever come into some money, that's the first thing you want to do, right? You want to take care of bills so you can stop worrying about them. You don't want that sitting on your conscience. Another thing that we do is we say we want to take care of our families. We want to distribute money in different places once we've got it. We want to take care of this person, take care of this responsibility and that responsibility. So there's so many things that we want to go do. Another thing that we say we want to do with money is give it to charity. For those of you who go to church, some people say, I want to tithe. I want to do this. I want to do that. I want to give to this organization. I want to give to St. Jude. I want to give to the American Cancer Society or the American Diabetes Association, because someone in my family struggles with that, or someone near and dear to my heart struggles with that. There are all of these things that we want to do with money. And that does not get any different when we start thinking about what we want to do with money as far as our business goes. So your business also has financial obligations. And a lot of times, if you come into money in your business, you're going to want to start paying for certain things. You immediately want to hire somebody that you can delegate to, or you want to pay for a Canva Pro subscription, or you want to pay for email marketing and do this and do that. So you want to take care of responsibilities. And then you want to give money to people that can help in your business. You want to build partnerships and share money that way. You may also want to just take money that you have and give it to a charitable cause if you're earning that in your business. You do not, when you begin to acquire money in your business, the first thing that you should not think is, what can I do with this money? How can I spend it out? How can I dish it out? Where can I put this money? Where can I put it externally, the where it's going to pay for something and then it's gone? In other words, you're so ready to take care of liabilities that you forget to invest in any assets. Okay? Investing is the first thing that you want to do once you come into money. And I know that this is moving ahead in the conversation a little bit, but I want to start with this because I need you to be thinking about, when I do start acquiring funds to my business, am I just going to want to pay things off and buy this and buy that, or am I going to invest? So instead of making payments I want you to think invest once you do start getting money in your business. So when we talk about securing funding for your business, we are talking about you acquiring money so that you can invest it into the business in some sort of way, whether it's purchasing an asset that's going to continue to help your business grow, or whether it's doing some type of business investment that is still going to help your business grow. But the thing is, we want to think about investments. So you start off thinking about how to secure money with understanding what you want to do with the money. With me? If you're with me, drop a yes in the comments. Give me a thumbs up. Give me a hands up. Give me something. Let me know that you understand where I'm coming from. So if you really had more money, make sure you understand what you would do with that money. If you had extra money just to spend on the business alone, what are you going to invest that money in? And I want you to actually, it's not an interactive webinar, but it is a working webinar. So I hope that you have pen and paper down. Yeah, I see a yes in the comments. That's right. Thank you. Thank you. I want you to have pen and paper, be taking notes here because you're going to learn a lot tonight. So jot the things down, jot down your biggest takeaway that you've gotten so far. If you drop it in the chat, that's cool. Yeah, I see another yes. Let's go. Let's go. Let's go. You got to understand what you want to achieve with the money. That's the first thing. So if you have a brick and mortar for your business, are you going to use it for overhead and paying rent and utilities? You know, if you are a graphic designer, are you going to invest in a program that's going to help you create those graphics? Or are you going to invest in a tablet or an iPad that can help you kind of virtualize what it is that you're working on and be able to maybe show your clients, maybe purchase a platform or invest in a platform where you can share information with your clients about how you're progressing along on their projects, different things like that. What would you spend money learning? Learning is an investment. So if you need to take a course to develop your business, to develop yourself professionally, then you need to do that. That is also part of investing. But the point is, what do you want to achieve and what do you want to experience with the money? That's always the first concern. So a lot of people think that finding the money first is what you should do. It's not finding the money. That's the thing, because you can probably eventually find the money. The thing is that knowing what to do with the money is the most challenging thing. So here are some things for you to think about when we're talking about what you need for your business and where you need to spend the money first. And then we're going to talk about finding the money and get into it. So things that you have to consider are, these are listed as startup costs, but they're also ongoing costs in a business. If you haven't started yet, things like your business registration. So it takes money for you to file your paperwork with the Secretary of State or with the federal government to establish your business. It takes money to do that. In most states, it's somewhere close to, it could range anywhere from about $26 for a sole proprietorship all the way up to $125 or $200 for an LLC or a corporation. So there's a range of finances that can be spent in just registering your business. All right. And then if you have to have equipment, things like, I can tell you that I'm helping somebody build a lawn service right now, lawn maintenance service. With that lawn maintenance service, they're going to need mowers. You know, they may need gardening tools. They may need weed eaters. So there's all sorts of equipment that you'll need for different types of businesses, and that is a cost. Office space, whether you got a brick and mortar building or you have an office space in your home. I work out of an office space in my home, but it still requires me to have, you know, desk space. I got to move things around. I still got to have supplies that I pay for, you know, paper clips, staples, sticky notes, all kinds of things that you need, pens, pencils, legal pads, paper, ink for your printers and things like that. Consider your office space along with supplies and inventory and things that you'll need to run a business. Some other things that are going to cost you money when you're trying to start a business are marketing. And I like to separate website from marketing, because although you can use your website for marketing, you can also use your website to book appointments and make sales and different things like that. So, and depending on which web host you use, They may nickel and dime you for the different features or the different functionalities that you need your website to have. So there's a difference in that. When you're marketing, you could be paying somebody to do content. You may be spending time on creating content yourself. There's a lot of things that you can do with marketing. Are you going to be paying for advertising on Facebook? Are you going to do ads, social media ads? Are you going to do traditional marketing in your local newspaper, radio station? Bulletin boards are super expensive, by the way. Not bulletin boards, but billboards along the roadsides, like they're super expensive. So it's cheaper to do digital marketing, non-traditional things on social media and stuff like that. That's a lot less money that you have to put into that. But utilities, payroll, consulting and coaching services. I'm a business coach, so you know I'm gonna stop and harp on this one just a little bit. I don't want you to dive out there into the sea of entrepreneurship without having some sort of guidance. Think of a consultant or a business coach as a lifeguard, somebody that's going to be with you on that journey while you're out there trying to brave what's going on in that ocean of entrepreneurship. There's a lot that happens. You need somebody guiding you along the way. Part of the costs that you should consider when you're a business is always having somebody to walk by your side. Now, you don't have to have one 24/7, 365. You know, you don't need a business coach every day of the week, every month of the year. But there are times when you need to invest. And the times that you can, one way to tell when you need a business coach is when you start second guessing yourself a lot, when you start asking a lot of questions about where you are in your journey, when you find yourself researching more than usual, but you're struggling to find answers. Those are usually, and if you just don't know altogether and you're comfortable saying, oh my God, I don't know that, and I'm going to have to spend a ton of time trying to find that out, and I'm asking all my friends, but they don't seem to know, it's time for you to start looking for a business coach or consultant. And these folks are usually affordable, and they will work with you if you find the right coach for your business. All right. That's enough of that. Into my soapbox. All right. Insurance. You need business insurance. So you're going to have to pay for that. You're going to have to pay taxes on your business once it's legitimate. You got to pay Uncle Sam. So, you know, you're going to need to think about every dollar that you earn, splitting that dollar in half and saving that in a separate account to use as your tax account to pay your taxes the next year. Travel expenses. Are you going to be using your gas in your vehicle to go from place to place to do business? That's an expense. Shipping costs. If you're a retailer, you got to think about your packaging and shipping and things like that when you're ready to start a business. So all of these costs add up. And what I want you to do is, if you hadn't already written these down, maybe write down what you think your top 5 to 7 would be and start associating what your costs would be for those, because that's how much, well, that's how you know how much money you need, is you have to add up your expenses. If you don't know how much money you need, how do you know how much you need to secure? How do you know how much to ask for if you don't know what you need? And I think what a lot of entrepreneurs do is they go into this thing blindly and they have just a figure in their minds that they think, okay, $3,000 should take care of this, this, and this. Do y'all know how fast money gets gone these days? Like, do you know how quickly? Have y'all ever got a paycheck and as soon as you get it, it's gone? If y'all feel me on that, drop a yes in the comments, give me a thumbs up, something. If you've ever gotten a paycheck and before you get it, you already know where it's going. Oh my gosh, if that has ever happened to you, business is no different. Do you hear what I'm saying? Business is no different. It's going to work just like your personal. Just as soon as you get that money, it's going to be time to start dedicating it to the next thing. And so for you to kind of go into it blindly to say, oh, I just need this much, we don't guesstimate when it comes to our funds, okay? We estimate, we don't guesstimate. We got to have a sure way of telling this is what we need and this is why we need it. So now while you're thinking about that, these are the things we know about. Now I'm getting ready to show you some of the things that you typically do not know about when you need money. So the first list that I showed you are pretty much upfront costs. Everybody's kind of familiar with it. But now here are some things that cost you money that you don't typically think about. These are some hidden costs. I know that we wish we didn't have it, but those first two things theft, loss, and fraud are so big in the business world and personally right now, and it's always heightened whenever we're in a recession because people are living in desperation. And so they really don't care if you're a person or a business. If they see in some folks, not everybody, but some people, unfortunately, when they see an opportunity to take advantage, they do that. And if it happens to you, don't consider yourself as, don't be so hard on yourself as to, I let my guard down. Now put the safeguards in place to protect your business and yourself, okay? Including making sure you're establishing your business so it can give you the proper liability just in case you have to go to litigation or go to court for something. Theft, loss, and fraud do happen. So there are hidden costs that a lot of people don't think about, but you have to suffer from sometimes. If you make errors on your business paperwork, if you get your taxes wrong and you owe the government more money than you actually had to pay because something wasn't filed right, this happens to people in the business world. That could be a hidden cost. Refunds, if somebody is unhappy with your product or service and they want their money back. If you don't have a refund policy in place that says no refunds, or you don't have a cutoff time for that, then you're going to have to give that money back. That's costing your organization. Sometimes you have to pay people to do research for you. Sometimes your bank charges you fees, maintenance fees, minimum balance fees, things like that. Bank fees may be associated. If you have credit card fees, that could be another bank fee. Production and online costs. Whenever you put in things together, whenever you are doing social media advertisements, that costs money. And some people want to use content marketing and not attach an ad price to that and get it published and run as ads to reach more people on social media. But if you're going to run that and put that into production, then you're going to have a cost for that. If your business, if you have to have a license or a permit, good example of that is ladies who do hair, my cosmetologist. You got to have a cosmetology license, right? Or else you can't practice. Well, you can have a cosmetology license, but not own a business. So if you're going to own a business, you also have to get the certifications or the articles of incorporation to open your business. So any permits, if you're general contracting or something like that, you got to have permits to do that stuff. Borrowing and interest. If you trademark your business or your logo, inflation, general inflation, everything has gone up. Right now, we are in an age of inflation. We are dealing with it. And there's nothing you can do about it except manage your money wisely. But there's the credit card fees, payment delays. If you're a service provider, maybe somebody is taking longer than expected to pay you. Something has happened on their side. Have to think about that. That's costing you money because you don't have access to that cash right away. You can't liquidate that to do what you need to do. So that's costing you. That's time, and time is money, right? Maintenance costs, upgrades. If you got to pay somebody for graphic designs, those advertisements, subscriptions that you have. Sometimes your website makes you buy subscriptions to keep certain things active on the site. Your time is money. And then, of course, we run to emergencies because last time I checked, real is just real. And nobody has walked on water since Peter and Jesus did it out of the boat. So that means something is going to happen sometime or another. So you got to plan for those things that might happen. So those are some of the hidden costs that are associated with business. Let's actually, let's shift over. It's 20 after. Let's start talking about securing money for your business and how you do it. Age-old question. So many entrepreneurs want to know the answer to this question. How do I get more money for my business? There are things that you must do before you can get money for your business. Before you can ask a traditional or non-traditional lender to loan you money, before you can apply for any grants, and honestly, before you go to any type of angel investors or anybody that won't invest in your company, you have to have your ducks in a row, okay? This is how you do it. This is what you do to make sure you can get money from people when you need it. If you do not have the things on this list in place, it is very likely that you're not going to get money from somebody when you need it for your business. So Securing funding for your small business is not a simple process. It's not that easy, but you can give yourself a head start and make it easier for yourself if you have these things in place. First thing here is to have a compelling story. I want everybody to type in the comments, compelling story, or tell your story. Drop it in the comments right now. I got to keep you engaged. Have a compelling story. Your business has to have a meaning behind it. There has to be a reason why you're doing what you're doing. And if you've ever listened to me coach before or been a part of any of my trainings before, I am big on pursuing your passion. One of the reasons that I'm big on that is because when your business has a story behind it, you open opportunities for yourself for years ahead into the future. But you have to have a reason, and you have to know what reason it is of why you're starting a business. It goes into number 2, and it kind of pairs along with developing a strong business plan. Part of a business plan is making sure that you have your mission, vision, and objectives or values in place. People want to know this before they lend you money. And there are certain institutions and certain grantors that will not give you money unless what you're doing fits the vision for where they want that money to go. So that's something that you have to have in mind. Anytime somebody's going to give you money to support your business, they have a reason why they're going to give you that money. They're not just going to say, oh, you're a business and you need it, I'm going to give it to you. There are specific people that give you monies for specific reasons. Give you a good example. Right now, the SBA has several grants available, but they are mostly for the industries of fintech, financial technology, or agriculture. If you're not in one of those two industries, if I'm in as a business consultant, I use it myself. If I'm not consulting people on agriculture, I can't go ask for that money. But if I was doing it, I would have to prove to them that I am consulting people on agriculture. And how do I do that? I do that by having my story in writing. So you have to write these things down. Vision, mission, objectives, or at least purpose. Make sure you have those 3 in your business. If you have those, drop a yes in the comments. If you have a story behind your business, drop yes. If you don't, then I need you to work on that immediately, because that's the first thing you need to have in place. You need to know why you are in business, what your business accomplishes for people, and what you want your business to continue to do. Yes, I see some yeses. That's what I love. Now, strong business plan. Strong business plan. I'm going to tell you what's included in a business plan. And there are a few different sections that I really like to talk about. Let me put it here in front of me so I can have a look at it while I'm talking it through y'all, because I like to chase rabbits when things get good. So there are about 10 main components that you want in your business plan. You want to be able, of course, table of contents is a given because you want to know what's in there. But you need a company background. You need to talk about market opportunity or do market research so you'll know what's going on in your industry, and you have to write that down, write it into your business plan. It has to be a part of it. You have to talk about management, do a management overview. That's where you talk about ownership of the business, a background of the owner or owners if it's a partnership, and what the business, what they intend to accomplish for the business. It's really good if you can discuss ways in there that your business impacts the community. That's really big. Talk about your competitors. You want to talk about competitive advantages in your business plan. And of course, you want to do some financial insights, financial projections, as I like to call it. Those are your major contents of a business plan. Title page, executive summary, an industry overview, market analysis and competition, sales and marketing plan, management, operations, financial projections, and that's going to wind it up. If you need me to say those again, just mention it. Just drop something in the comments and I will put them out there again. I'll say them again for you to see. Do you need them again? Y'all let me know. One more time. Let's go. Title page or your cover page, your executive summary, an industry overview, market analysis and competition, sales and marketing plan, management, operations, and financial projections. That is a strong, strong business plan. Most traditional banks that you go to, Truist, credit unions, Wells Fargo, PNC, whatever traditional bank it may be, most traditional banks want to see a strong business plan when you're trying to get a loan from them. And that plan needs to include your story, what your business is all about. All right. Another thing that they want to see is how you plan to repay the funds that you borrow. How do you plan to pay it back? And this is if it's loan now. We aren't talking about grants, because grants you generally do not have to pay back. Unfortunately, some people did some very illegal things while they were giving out all these PPP loans, and now they're responsible for paying that money back. That's a different webinar. But just know, don't lie on these applications. Don't lie on these applications, or your name is going to be in the newspaper. They're going to be trying to recoup money from you. Federal government going to be out, nicking at your heels like that right there. All right. Have a strategy for how you're going to repay this money. You got to have a plan to give it back, especially if you're going to borrow money from the bank. That's a major question you got to answer. How are you going to pay me back? And so what you can do is, in your financial projections and your business plan, you can demonstrate how you plan to earn the money that you can use to pay back funds that have been loaned to you. Makes sense to everybody? Makes sense, makes sense, makes sense. Yep, thumbs up. Let's go, let's go, let's go. Know how you're going to pay the money back. If you are going to borrow X amount of dollars, say I want to borrow $5,000 from the bank where I have my business bank account, right? They're going to know why I need the money. They're going to know if my business is structurally sound enough financially to be able to repay those funds on whatever schedule that they have amortized for me. So however they need me to pay that money back at whatever interest rate it's being lent out for whatever amount of time, which is probably not going to be past about 6 or 7 years. They're going to want to know how I can pay that money back in my business. How am I going to make that money back? And that's why it's important for you to have a business plan, because you got to be thinking about how much in sales you're going to have coming in, or whatever you're borrowing that money for. Remember I said, now you can't just get money to pay off other debt. You can't rob Peter to pay Paul. So when you get this money, you can't use it to pay off bills. You can't use it to put toward liabilities. You have to get this money to put it toward assets that are going to help you make more money. That way you can pay it back, or else you're just going to find yourself drowning in debt, and you're going to be on a hamster wheel in your business all the time. And if you're not making money in business, then you just have a hobby that's causing you to go broke and be stressed out. Nobody want to walk around here with a headache and a tummy ache all the time because they're worried about money. Am I right? Am I right? Have a way to pay it back. Create a reliable network. Anybody in this group have a financial advisor that they talk to? It's usually free to talk to these people. Edward Jones is my financial advisor. I go talk to somebody at Edward Jones. That's where I have some of my investments. Yeah, I'm gonna get down in the weeds. I'm gonna get personal a little bit. It's free for me to go talk to my financial advisor. They know what's going on in the markets, and they'll spend 30 minutes to an hour with you just to tell you what the market looks like, where are good investments, where are poor investments, what should you be doing with your business accounts at the time, where you can invest money, where you can borrow money from. It is really good for you to have a financial advisor on your team because you're busy running the business, and their business is to know about money. And so when you need somebody to impart knowledge in you about what's going on in the financial sector of your industry, you can go talk to a financial advisor, and it's great to have that person on your team. Again, you definitely need a business coach because they're going to tell you what's considered as an asset and what's considered as a liability in your business, and whether you should probably invest in it or not. All investments carry some sort of risk, but when you have an expert working with you who can give you a yes or no because they've been there before and they want to help you avoid the mistakes they made, it's great to have a person like that on your team. And you definitely need an accountant. Now, some people use online accountants, lawyers who are online where they can shoot a quick question on a website and get an answer, as long as it is a trusted source, and check with the Better Business Bureau if you have a question. And if you see them on there and there's a lot of red flags, stay away from them. If you don't see them on there at all, it's a great chance that they aren't a legitimate business and they could possibly sell your information, all this kind of stuff. But those are the 3 towers that you need on your side when you start talking about business finances: a financial advisor, a business coach or consultant, and an accountant. Build a reliable network. Allocate your resources effectively. And this ties into the last one, which is starting a solid financial foundation and creating a budget. That and allocating your resources efficiently or effectively, those two go together. You need to have a budget for your business. Anybody in here have a budget for their business? Drop a yes in the comments. Give me a thumbs up if you got a business budget. If you've worked on one before. Good, good. If you do not have a budget for your business, if you do not have everything written down that you want to generate in your business as far as revenue, and subtract everything as far as your expenses, you need to do that, and you need to do it on paper. You need to have a balance sheet. Create a budget for your business. Identify the resources that you need to make your business happen. What do you have to have in place to make everything work, to make the cogs and pegs all fit together, for everything to run together? What do you have to make it work? Stay informed about your current business landscape. Know if things are going well in your industry or if they're not. People who suffered here at the beginning of 2023 up until this point are copywriters, because ChatGPT and Canva document writing, all of these AI programs hit the scene. Google AI, boom. And just like that, anything that I wanted to write that I needed to sound catchy or appeal to my target audience, I could go to Canva and type it in instead of hiring a content writer to do it for me for whatever they charge. And I got to do this, and I'm still doing it for free. People who are copywriters, their industry suffered this year because AI just hit the scene just out of nowhere. Nobody expected it to happen. And if you were not a copywriter with your ear close to the ground and listening to what was happening in your industry, you were taken by storm and hit by surprise, and you probably lost a ton of clients if you weren't in tune to what was going on with your industry. So know what's going on in your business landscape. If your industry is not doing well, it is very likely that someone who would lend you funds would be more hesitant to lend you funds if they feel like your business is going to tank in a few years. Y'all follow me? If they're thinking that your business is not going to perform as well as what you put in your business plan for whatever reason, then you may have a harder time getting money from who you need to get it from. All right. Last one is to cultivate a supportive community around your business. Because the more support you have and the more you can prove your credibility, your longevity, trustworthiness, your dependability, the more you can prove that, the more likely it is that somebody's going to pay you money or give you money to use for your business, whether it be in the form of a loan or grant. If you have supportive community around your business, it happens. What are some ways that you build community? A strong social media presence. People look at that. Do you have website traffic that you can prove, that you can stick in that business plan and say, this is how many people I have, viewing my website on a monthly basis or on a quarterly basis. And this is how many of these people are converting to paying customers. This is how many return customers I have. Anybody on here like Shark Tank? Yeah, thumbs up if you like Shark Tank. I swear it's one of my favorite shows. Love Shark Tank. When those entrepreneurs open those curtains and they stand in front of Barbara Cochran and Mark Cuban and what's her name that does QVC? I can see her face. Oh my God. The QVC lady, Damon John. When they get up there and they stand in front of these folks, they have to have a plan for their business. They know their numbers. So the thing that we started out here with tonight is knowing what you need. They walk into the room already knowing what they need and they know why they need it. Their pitch is just them telling their compelling story to the sharks about why they need this money. And then they start diving into, well, how many sales have you made? What platforms you own? How active is your website? What are your projections? What do you expect to sell this year? Y'all remember hearing all those questions on Shark Tank? Because it's real. We'll give you $20,000 for a 10% stake in your company. That's how you get money. You got to have a story. You got to know why you need the money. You got to know your numbers. You got to know where you want to invest it and what kind of impact or effect that it's going to have to keep your business going in the future. This is what you got to have to secure funding for your business. It is going to be hard for you to get money from anybody if you don't have the stuff on this list. I can personally tell you that. That has been my personal experience. So if you're ready to go after money for your business, do these things. These are the first things that you need to do. After you have this stuff in place, then you start looking at, okay, now, where am I going to get the money from? Y'all ready to talk about that? We just spent another 20 minutes on secure funding. We're rocking and rolling. Rocking and rolling. I see a thumbs up. We're getting ready to keep it moving too. All right. I'm going to stop this share with you. Now, real quick, housekeeping again. Drop your name in the comments if you're here tonight. I am so glad that you're here. Let me know that you're here. Drop your name in the comments for me. Say hi. How you doing? If you own a business, drop the name of your business in the comments. Because we would love to go, if you got a handle, drop it down in the comments. We would love to go follow your pages. If you got a business page, let's support each other's pages here. We can start helping the people on this call build that community, build that supportive community if we know that you're there. So drop your name, the name of your business. If you got a handle, drop it there in the comments so we can go follow you. We can check you out, all that good stuff. If you have questions at any given time, please drop them in the comments as well, because I'm going to spend about the last 15 to 20 minutes just answering any questions that you have. So if you have any questions at any time, please drop them in the comments. And don't think your question is dumb. Don't do that. Don't do it to yourself, because I guarantee you somebody else probably has the same question and they just don't want to say it out loud. So any question that you have, drop it in the comments. We're going to touch on it later. Touch on it later, Gators. All right. Question is, where is this money that everybody's talking about? Where is it? Where can I find it? There are 7 places where you can actually find money. 7 main places. You can find money in a lot of places. And I'm going to give you a couple of specific sources, but these are the 7 main ways that you can get a hold of money. This is where you can get it. And then there'll be different sites and everything like that too. But let's talk about where the money is. Have y'all, did y'all see that guy on TikTok working at a car dealership? He used to pop out the trunk and go, where the money resides, where the money resides, where the money resides. I used to love to watch him on TikTok. All right. So this is where the money resides right here. There's only like 7 different places for you to choose from to understand where you're going to get it and what it takes to get it from these places. You got to have those things that I talked about before, but let's dive a little bit deeper and see if I can kind of make let's make this a little bit bigger. All right. So choose the path of finding your money and lean into what works for you. Not all of these things work for you, everybody's business or your type of business. So you got to find what works for you. The first one is bootstrapping. Now, this is something that entrepreneurs usually automatically do. This is using your money, your personal money, to start funding your business in the beginning, to get it off the ground. And this is usually where everybody starts. Very few people are, well, no, I won't say very few, but depending on where you're from and what family history you had, all this kind of stuff, that depends on whether you've been passed down money or passed down businesses in your family to do stuff, okay? Not everybody has that luxury. That's a real blessing. And I'm happy for you if you have that. But not all of us have had that experience. So sometimes you got to bootstrap. That's the first thing. So if you hear somebody say bootstrap, that just means you're using your own money to build your business. It's money that you've saved up to put into the business. That's it. Yep, Ashley, I'll make sure I go back over that before we end today. That is, and you are talking about, make sure, let me know that you're talking about the business plan. I just want to make sure I'm thinking about the right thing. Bootstrapping, using your own money. That's the first way you can get money. Second way you can get money is by grants. Grants are something that don't typically have to be paid back, but they do require that you have a strong business plan, a business structure. You got to have a business that's been formed already. It's either got to be, label where the money resides, where the money resides. You either got to have a sole proprietorship, LLC, S Corp, C Corp, PLLC, whatever type of business you have, or nonprofit organization. Can't leave out my nonprofit folks. You have to have a business that's been structurally sound. It has to be official in order for you to get a grant or any type of loans later. Also, it has to have an EIN. And with most grants, you need a DUNS number. With most grants, you do, but not with all. A DUNS number is what you get to help you establish business credit, but it is also a federally assigned number. So it has a very strong backing to it. A DUNS number does. It is given to you by one of the most structurally sound organizations in the U.S. They help prove business credit, which is called Dun & Bradstreet. The website is dnb.com. I'm getting ready to drop that in the comments right there. If you don't have a DUNS number, you need to go on dnb.com and get a free one. Anybody on here have a DUNS number? If you do, give me a thumbs up or give me a yes and comment. Yeah, I see a hand raised. That's what's up. Yes, ma'am. We need a DUNS, especially if you have an LLC. You need a DUNS and you need to be building business credit. So you need to open some Net 30 accounts to help you build business credit. You can build business credit faster than you can build personal credit. And the score doesn't go as high. It's a little bit different. It's measured by what we call a PAYDEX score. That's a different webinar too. All right, but grants vary based on your industry. If you remember what I said earlier, you can get grants for agriculture, you can get grants for technology and fintech, you can get grants for consulting and coaching, you can get grants for hair salons, for graphic design, you can get grants for different things. Grants are not easy to find. I don't care what anybody says. That's why a lot of people hire grant writers And a lot of people also hire grant researchers. There are people who go out here and do work just to find you money, and you pay them to find you money. But let me give you a secret. If you have a community college in your area, it's highly likely that they have a small business center. That small business center will do a lot of this research for you at no charge, or they will hire someone and the college will pay that person to do this research for you because they want to build up their local community. So if you have a community college in your area, seek out a small business center on their campus, and my fingers crossed, hopefully they have one. A lot of times that small business director or somebody working with that small business center will help you find grants for your business because they want to increase the amount of revenue that's coming into your community. Gold nugget. Got to throw them in there sometimes. All right. The third way that you get money is through traditional and non-traditional loans. So when we say traditional loans, those are sources of finances obtained from banks and capital markets. That's where you get money from your local bank that you're banking with, your business bank account. Now there are online banks too that you can use. And those are your non-traditional banks. Prepaid debit cards, borderless bank accounts, fintech banking, a lot of these other things online that you can use. Any type of online banking system is what we call a non-traditional bank, or non-traditional lenders. One non-traditional lender that I know of personally is called Rock Financial, ROK. Do you have to have a lot more proof of what's transactional proof of what's happening in your bank account to be able to borrow from them? And you have to be earning a certain amount before you can borrow from them. There are certain stipulations before you can borrow from them. So traditional banks and non-traditional loans are other places where you can find money. It's just another place where you can find it or how you get it. Another way you can fund your business is one of my favorite ways that I already started discussing is business credit. But again, it is credit. So it's not going to work if you don't have a way to pay it back. So when you get business credit, you invest in things that are assets for your company that are going to help you make money. So if you have business credit, if you can get a business credit card and you're in retail, you can use that business credit card to buy some of your products. And definitely you got to make sure you set your prices right so you can make a profit. You don't want to break even. And then you don't want to be given all these discounts where you're going to suffer a net loss and you're going to lose money. We don't want to do either of those two. We want to make a profit. We want to be net plus. We want to have surplus. We want to be making a net profit. So you got to make more than you spend. So if you buy this inventory, you got to make sure you're pricing it correctly to cover your shipping costs, your packaging costs, whatever it takes for you to prepare that and purchase it. You know, you got to pay for what you spent in shipping to get it. And then you're going to pay some more in shipping to ship it out to the person. So you got to price your products in a manner that's going to cover all of your costs, those upfront costs and those hidden costs that we talked about. Got to charge enough to cover that. Business credit can help you pave the way to get you off the hamster wheel. It really alleviates. How many of you growing up, show of hands or put in the comments, when you were growing up, how many of your parents told you to stay away from credit cards? Who was told to stay away from credit cards? I see one hand up. Thumbs up. Yep, I see another raised hand. We were taught to stay away from credit, right? So naturally, what we think is credit is a bad thing. But you can leverage this mamma jamma. You just have to know how to do it. It's more than just discipline when you're taking business credit. You need to know how you're going to use it. You're not going to know how you're going to use it if you don't know what you want to spend it on. So that's like one of the biggest things. You got to know where you're going to spend this money when you get it. But business credit is your business's ability to borrow And like I said before, this builds a lot faster than personal credit does. So like within a year's time or so, or even less, you can have really awesome business credit. You can have accounts set up where you can be getting supplies and inventory for your business to use to help build a business and things like that. Your business credit score influences your access to credit products. So just like you keep your personal score healthy, you got to keep your business credit score healthy. But that's one of my favorites. That's one way you can get money for your business. Another way is crowdfunding, which means you're getting money for funding a project or a venture by raising a lot of small amounts of money from a large number of people. And I wanted to open a link. Top 10 crowdfunding sites for 2023 to fund your vision have been, let's see, where are they? A website called Kickstarter. There's one called Indiegogo, Patreon, Crowdfunder, everybody's favorite GoFundMe. There's another one called Fundable. Crowdcube is in the UK. For nonprofits, you got one called Mighty Cause. You got Seed Invest, and there's another one for high growth startups called Start Engine. I am getting ready to drop these in the comment section so y'all can get them, because I know I was reading them pretty fast. Let me go here to the presentation and drop them all. All right, there you are. Top 10 best crowdfunding websites. If you're going to get crowdfunded, these are the places to go. This is where you're asking people to donate money to a cause. Definitely good for nonprofits. If you're a nonprofit person, if you're thinking about starting one, it's great to put this up here. It's great to put your nonprofit on these sites to collect, but people do this for their businesses. Now, if you have a business that's really strong on community, you're giving back, you're doing something for the community, you're making people feel good, you're improving their quality of life somehow, whatever. Crowdfunding is definitely a way for you to go, because it's really just asking people to give you a small amount of money, but you're asking a large number of people. Yep, and it's typically on the internet. So that's how crowdfunding works. Another one is angel investors. An angel investor is somebody who provides capital for your business, definitely a startup, usually in exchange for some type of convertible debt or some type of ownership equity. Sharks on Shark Tank are angel investors. That's what they are. They're donating a certain amount of money, however much amount, for a certain amount of equity in your business. That's what angel investors are. There are angel investor sites. One is called Angel List. Another one is called GUST, G-U-S-T. Then there's an Angel Investment Network, an Angel Capital Association, Angel Forum, funders, investors, all of this. And I'm going to give y'all the link to this site. This is a great site called Truic for startups. And this is an investor website that you can go to. If you wanted to check out angel investors, you could do that. So hopefully, I'm hoping that y'all can copy and paste this stuff from in the comments. And if you follow me online, Facebook, Instagram, TikTok, LinkedIn, wherever, that's my handle. If you DM me and if you send me your email address, I'll send you out this video, because I'm recording this training, and I'll send you the notes and the slides from tonight. So if you hit me up in DMs and just give me your email address and say, hey, I want everything from tonight. I want the slides. I want the links. I want everything you taught. I'll make sure I send this to you. Okay. Awesome. Good, good, good. That's angel investors. And then the last major area where you get money from are venture capitalists. And these people make capital investments in company in exchange for an equity stake. So in a sense, you could say that sharks are also venture capitalists. But The difference with venture capitalists, and I think Barbara Cochran is probably one of the more stronger venture capitalists on that panel, because she likes to bring in managerial and technical expertise, as well as her money and any investments they're making in the business. So the difference between angel investors and venture capitalists is an angel investor is not going to get their hands dirty. They're going to give you the money in exchange for a piece of the pie, but they're not going to get down in the weeds and do the work. Venture capitalists are different. They're a little bit more adventurous. They're going to give you the money. They still want equity in it, but they like to get their hands dirty because they're going to want to make sure that your business is successful. So they're going to work alongside you and put certain people in place to make sure that some things happen. A lot of, especially new entrepreneurs, may not like this idea because we are so territorial with our businesses. Y'all know we don't like for people to touch our stuff because we want it done a certain way and we have certain ideas on how we think something should work. So we're not always cool with it, with venture capitalists coming in and somebody saying, let me put a person in place and we can do this like this, and you know, this can work better and that and that. So not a lot of entrepreneurs like this, but it is one of the ways that you get money for your business, and it's one of the main ways that you get it. Most small businesses rely on one of these first 4 to 5. I would say really one of these first 4, and then they will typically kind of filter around in 5. More so if you're a nonprofit, you go for crowdfunding. But most small businesses that you see are either bootstrapping to get cash, they're using their own money to do it, they're finding grants, they're getting loans from either traditional or non-traditional facilities, or they're leveraging business credit. Those are the 4 ways that you fund your business. All right. You're welcome, Tara Melvin. I absolutely love it. So this is it. It's just that simple. Now you know what you got to do. If you want the money, there are certain things you got to know where you want to spend it first. You got to know what assets you want to invest it in. And then you know what to do to actually be able to prepare yourself to get the money. And now you even know what pathways that you can take to get the money. If you're bootstrapping, you don't owe anybody anything. You're just going to have to make enough money to support yourself in the business financially if you're going to bootstrap. It is hard to grow a business on bootstrapping because you're just pouring out. So unless your family has just passed you down a whole bunch of money that you can invest in a business, you don't want to stay with number 1. We don't want to be using our personal funds to continuously fund the business over and over again, or else you're going to be drained dry and you're going to be a real bitter individual because you're going to be broke and you're going to be trying to live life and run a business, and it's not going to be pretty. It's just not going to be pretty like that. All right. For grants, couple of places, 2 main places I want to give you for grants right now. Of course, there's the SBA. And I'm putting this in the comment section. SBA, for anybody who doesn't know, Small Business Association, SBA.gov. They are always putting business grants up. It's easier to find some of the grants if you are a minority and if you are a female. Those are really good ways to find grants, especially with the Small Business Association. If you can get the certificate and prove that you are a woman-owned business or a minority-owned business. Oh, and also if you're a veteran, if you've served in the military in any type of way, you've been got a honorable discharge. They are heavy on business grants for veterans. SBA is a great place to search for that. That's the first place. The other main place I want to tell you as far as getting grants from the federal government is grants.gov. Grants.gov. That's the second place that you can find grants for your business. The trick to handling grants.gov is you have to be an official business, just like I have here in section 2. You have to be an official business. It's great if you have a strong business plan in place. You got your business official already. You got your business structure. You got it sound. It's either LLC, sole proprietor, whatever. You got an EIN, and you have to have a DUNS number. But if you go on, let me show y'all what grants.gov actually looks like. If you go on grants.gov, there will be all sorts of grants that you can see, that you can apply for. Let me make sure. Can y'all see this screen? Everybody see this on their screen? I think you do. If you don't, okay. Thank you, Cherise. I see your thumbs up, honey. Thank you so much for confirming that for me, Tiara. Thank y'all. Thank y'all. Yep. Grants.gov will show you several different areas of where you can apply for grants. There's a user guide for how to go in here and apply for the grants. There are grant writing tips if you're going to be doing this yourself. And these are again for federal grants. So you really have to have your ducks in a row for this. When you apply for federal grants, there's also a huge possibility that you're going to be audited by the federal government if you get awarded the grant money. And that's something that a lot of people don't realize, is that like after, especially if they give you more than $1,000 in the grant, which is typically, most grants are usually $1,000 or more, 1,000, 5,000, then you get up until like 25,000, 50,000, $100,000 grants to run your business. It just depends on what your plans are, the size of your business, and what you want to do for your community and how you want your business to grow. You will probably get audited by the government because they want to make sure that you are spending this money the way you say you're going to spend this money. So without me even having saying it, you got to have a business bank account, flat out. Don't ask anybody for any money if you don't have a professional way of tracking these funds. Because if you don't, you're going to find yourself in a world of trouble. Something that I want y'all to watch out for. Have y'all seen all of these posts on social media about, I'm going to help you get $75,000. All you need is the EIN and the LLC. How many of y'all seen those posts? They're putting them out there, and you have to be really careful. If you have a question about it, send me a DM and I'll look it up for you. That way you won't be sending people your personal information and stuff. I do it for people all the time. If you got a question about it, send it to me and I'll help you look at it real quick. And I can usually give it first glance and be like, no, because there's certain things that they need to have in place. They got to have a website for one. They should be able to show you some social proof. A lot of times, if you get that money and stuff like that, if they get some of your information mixed up and you pay them, you may get $60,000 and you pay them $10,000 out of it. The thing is their name is not on any applications. They're filling out everything on your behalf when they do this. So a lot of times they aren't even saying, hey, I'm a third party filling this out for somebody else. They're acting as if you were the person filling this information out. So when you get caught holding the bag, you can't say, well, so-and-so applied for me, because they're not going to hear that. But SBA.gov, grants.gov are some of my favorite places to find grant monies. And that is legitimate grant money for you to find. Now, other grants become available. And like I said, if you got a small business center in your area, a lot of times that director knows about different grants when it's not publicized. And sometimes we have our heads so far down in the weeds doing the work that we miss opportunities for grants and things like that. So check that grants.gov website often. I want you to start going on there and just looking around, playing around with the site, seeing what you can read, seeing how to search for grants and things like that for yourself. You're going to be best at this more than just hiring somebody to just go in there and do it just all of a sudden, because you got to know what's out there first. All right. Everybody knows what GoFundMe is. We know that that's a crowdfunding site that you can do. You can go on there and set up an account for your business, put your business information in, put in a goal that you want to meet, put in why you want to meet that money. or why you need that money that you don't have to pay back, and people can kind of crowdfund you that way. But I do want to show you another site that I found recently. If other people have heard of this site, they have heard of it long before, probably I have, but it is called, I call it Kiva because I haven't seen it before. I doubt if it's Kiva. I think it's Kiva. And I'm getting ready to drop the link in the chat so y'all will have it. Kiva.com. Nope, kiva.org. Excuse me. Let me go back before I send y'all that. Now, this is more like a site for this is it can be loan or grants. You could do either or. Let me share the screen with you so y'all can see what it looks like. But the logo is green on it for Kiva. If you are in the position to where you want to loan money to a small business, then you can do it here. You can actually put in money to support other small businesses. So if you want to get into philanthropy and helping out your community, helping out business community, whatever, you can give as much money. I mean, you could give $5, you can give $10, whatever, and they'll put it in the pot. But what this is a borrowing and lending site for small business owners. If you want to borrow, you can go up here and click borrow. If you want to lend money to somebody, you can go up here and click lend. But if you go and click borrow, you're going to start your application and sign up, and they actually do have 0% interest loans for small businesses. It's a way of crowdfunding. Again, look right here. More than 2.5 million have raised over $1 billion on Kiva. So Kiva is a growing website for small business owners and entrepreneurs. You can go on here, you can borrow money. It is easy to set up an account. I have done it. I'm actually in the process of doing the application to borrow funds from Kiva now. But it's a great site that I found. It doesn't cost you anything to use it. It doesn't cost you anything to set up an account or anything like that. But Kiva is great if you want to give, and it's great if you want to borrow, especially if you can do it at 0% interest. So make sure you track that one down because that one can be helpful. Some of you live in my area and some of you don't. For those of you who live in my area, I want you to make sure you know about the Columbus Jobs Foundation. For those of you who don't live in my area, go talk to your local Chamber of Commerce. All your local Chamber of Commerce is a network of small businesses in your community. And they are government funded in your area. So they're getting county and state funds to take care of small businesses where you live. Most of them will charge you membership fees to join, but it usually is not more than and some of them do them in tiers. So you could do like $100 a year. The fee may be $300 a year, but it's typically an annual fee that your Chamber of Commerce has. They know how much money is budgeted with your local government to pour into small business. Sometimes there are loans and grants that they have given your county or your city or whatever municipality you're part of. A lot of times there's money budgeted for your city to pour into small business, but you would never know about it unless you go talk to these people. And this happens a lot. In my area, I know the Chamber of Commerce is really active with small business, and there are a lot of small businesses that are just now tapping into everything that they offer. But also in my area, the folks in my area, you need to know about the Columbus Jobs Foundation, because when they're budgeted so much money by our local government, they give them out in the forms of loans and grants to people. And they don't do it all year, every year. It's typically seasonal when they do it, and they only do it every so often whenever they can get on the budget to do it. And that's another part of staying plugged into your community. All right, it's 7:13. I want to stop for a second and ask y'all, have you found any place where you can get funding for your business? Maybe something that I hadn't mentioned already. And I know your traditional banks, your regular banks are somewhere where you can get it. If you know somewhere else that you can get funding for your business, I want you to drop it in the comment section real quick. Anybody at all. If you know somewhere where you can get a loan or a grant for your business, drop it in the comments and let's talk about it real quick and let's share some information amongst ourselves. I see Amber grants. I love that. I see Amber grants. I see Hello Alice. Y'all writing these down? Super, super important. I Fund Women is a good one, and do the other one I had that was non-traditional was Rock Financial. I promise you, these are the things that you do. This is how I've gotten money for my business every time. Once I write this out, it's like I've got what I need. This keeps growing with my business every year or every major change that my business goes through. I prepare my business to receive the money by having a story behind what I do. I got a strong business plan. I got strategies in place for how I plan to pay the money back. They want to know how you're going to give it back. I got a network of people I call on to know what's going on in my industry, my financial advisor and my accountant. I even have a business coach myself. I know where I'm going to allocate my resources. I've identified what resources I need. I stay informed about what's going on the consulting landscape. I know what's going on in my industry. I create supportive community around my business, and I have a budget for my business. That's my solid financial foundation. And I'm able to make projections for what I think is going to happen, at least in the next year or two. At least in the next year or two. If it looks like things are trending positively in your industry, then say that when you're trying to borrow money. Tell that person, things are going really great. And what I'm doing right now, I'm creating content for people. More businesses are starting. They've got more social media presence, so they need people like me. My industry has grown by 30% over the last 2 to 3 years. It's expected to elevate and grow another 40% over the next year or so. Those are the kind of conversations you need to have. You got to know your numbers. That's how you understand what's going on with your industry and how your business is going to be impacted by the money that you get, or how your community is going to be impacted by the money that you get. All right, real quick in the chat for me. Out of the out of the 7, I'll give you 7. Out of the 7 main areas where we said you can get money, which way would you prefer to get money? Would you prefer to bootstrap and save the money yourself? Would you prefer to get a grant, not have to pay it back? Would you prefer to get a traditional loan or a non-traditional loan? Or would you prefer to be crowdfunded, have an angel investor invest in you and give them equity in the company, or have a venture capitalist invest in you and you give them part of the company and you let them take on some of the work, some of the major or corporate responsibilities? Where would you rather get your money from? I'm seeing grants. Thank you, Dow. Oh, yep, that's right. I forgot about business credit, Sonia. Like, I love business credit myself. Tabitha says she wants grants, crowdfunding, last resort, a loan. Yep, and that's a good point. Let your last resort be a loan, but don't let the fear of lending money keep you from asking for it. All you need is a plan to pay it back. And then you got to stick to the plan. You got to get out there and work your butt off and stick to that plan. But that's how you get it done. All right. Spend another 20 minutes on where you can find it. So we talked about what you need to do to prepare to find it. And we talked about where you can find it, how you can set your business up to ask for it, taking the time to know how much you need to ask for it. And the last thing that I have is just If you have any questions for me, I'm here to answer. And there are some other people on here to answer too. I'm getting ready to put every single one of y'all on the spot, so I hope you're ready. And I'm gonna go in order of how I see people on my screen. And I always like to end by asking people what their biggest takeaway was, because that helps me know whether this has been valuable to you or not. So Dallas Richardson, can you unmute and tell us what your biggest takeaway was for tonight? You muted, I can't hear you.
This is my first time on the mic, so I think the information that you touched base on your local chamber of commerce, I've actually kind of dabbled, not all that in depth the way you present it. So that's probably gonna be my first point of contact, and seeing what they have the state and regional wide as far as funding for me. And also you have like the your small business development center.
Mm-hmm.
That was another takeaway I got from that, because I didn't really think about them actually help you starting your business.
They sure will. That's a good point. And a lot of people don't know that they do that, Dallas. A lot of people don't know they do that. But they actually, the state funds those small business centers. Like, they have to be credentialed by the state to have their own small business centers, because they get funding to put back into the community. And so when a community college has a small business center, they're there to help build businesses in the community, whether that be through webinars or whatever, or free training, or finding somebody to help coach you. They'll do that. Good takeaways, Dallas. Thank you for sharing.
No problem. Thanks I'm glad I was here.
I'm glad you hopped on.
Yes, I'm glad. Thank you for spending the time for us.
Yes, sir. You're welcome. My pleasure. Miss Teresa Ferrier, I got you next in line. Teresa, you want to tell us what your biggest takeaway was for tonight, if you're able to chat? And I see you muted, so I don't know if you're here near the call or if you're away from it. I don't see her coming off mute. Sharice Hudson, I got you next. What was your biggest takeaway tonight, Miss Sharice?
Okay, so my biggest takeaway was also the Chamber of Commerce. I didn't know that. I actually, when COVID first started, I had a young lady that was going to reach out to me to actually come down there and talk to her about my business.
Mm-hmm.
So that was a plus. And I also didn't know about the DUNS number. I have an LLC, I have my EIN, I have all of my paperwork, but I didn't know about the DUNS number. So that's something I'm going to go back and go ahead and get that, so that I can have that to help build credit for my business.
Let's go, Sharice. Yes, ma'am. Thank you for getting on the call tonight. Appreciate you watching the webinar and sticking it out.
Yes, thank you, Miss Cynthia.
Yes, ma'am. My pleasure. I see Miss Teresa. I see you on.
Yeah, I was pushing the wrong button. So, hey, how are you?
Hi, lady.
I have to agree with everybody else. I did not know about the community college stuff. I didn't know that even exists. So that was very beneficial for you to share. So yeah, thank you very much.
Yes, ma'am. Glad you got something from it. Thank you for chiming in tonight, Teresa.
All right.
Maribel Rivera, Graphically Yours CEO. What's your biggest takeaway for tonight, ma'am?
So I've been working on I have a 2-year plan of leaving my 9-to-5.
Let's go.
And going, moving full-time into business ownership. So I think I was just listening to like all the things. So I'm a bootstrapper. It's where I'm currently at.
That's right.
And just thinking about how I'm going to have to take these next steps and securing some funding so that I can do that, right? So that I can leave my 9-to-5 and move full-time into my business. So just taking stock of maybe some of the things that I want to do a little bit more research on, and kind of develop a plan for execution. So there you go.
Thank you, Maribel. Yes, ma'am. We love planning. And look, I'm on my succession plan too. The plan to walk away. That's what we're doing right now. Yes, ma'am. In full force. I have CEO of Care Clean Solutions up next, Miss Tabitha Hunter, out there in the Raleigh-Durham Research Triangle area.
Right. My biggest takeaway was just like everyone mentioned the small business center. I had no idea because I would have been went there. You know what I
Yeah.
mean? And also with the Chamber of Commerce, because I don't know if you recall, remember I had went to an event like a just networking, and
Mhm.
I got a card from someone who worked with our local Chamber of Commerce out because it was for my nonprofit
Right,
that I was speaking with her on. But my cleaning business is funding my nonprofit.
right.
So now it kind of gave me a little courage to go ahead and reach out to her and see if I can set up a meeting so we can talk about, some funding and things like that that they may have available for me. So my biggest thing now is getting funding because right now I don't have a 9 to 5. So I started looking for like part-time work, just little, something that can help me fund my bootstrap, pretty much bootstrap my businesses so I can get my clientele up. So yeah, so my biggest takeaway was the small business center and the Chamber of Commerce. And I did have a question about the SBA certification, like
I saw that.
so how much would that cost? Because like when you apply for grants, some you have to pay. So when you go try to apply for the SBA grants, how do you actually go and get that certification? Can you give us a little bit about the steps?
I can. So if you're just applying for SBA grants in general, there's no fee to apply for the grant. But if you are talking about becoming a recognized as a woman-owned or female-owned business, or a veteran-owned business, or a minority-owned business, there are fees associated with that. And I'm thinking $400, $500. Once you get it, it's yours though. And I got another financial management expert on the call. So I'm gonna ask actually Miss Tiara Melvin to hop in. And if she has any more pointers on this, she can get to it because I was going to her next too. There are fees to become one of those recognized types of businesses, but to actually apply for the grant itself, there's no fee for that. I hope that helps. Got you. Thank you for sharing your takeaway, Tabitha. All right, CEO of M&J Financial Management Group, Miss Tiara Melvin is on the line. What was your biggest takeaway tonight, Miss Tiara?
Hey you guys, so my biggest takeaway pretty much was the other different grant websites that you had gave. I wasn't familiar with those, like I was only familiar with a certain few. And then also too, you reminded me that I need to reach out to the Chamber of Commerce again, because me and you had talked about that before. But I haven't did it yet. So just to reach out to the Chamber of Commerce, and then the Columbus Jobs one that's in our area. I haven't ever heard of that one. So making myself very aware and knowledgeable about that.
Yes, ma'am. Do you know exactly what the fees are to become a woman-owned business, or the
With the woman-owned business with SBA, it's completely free. There's no fee.
Tabitha?
Yeah, it's completely free. It's no fee. But I will tell you some of the things that they're gonna ask for. They're gonna ask for a resume, and your resume need to reflect your position at what you do at your business. They're gonna ask for your operating agreement, and it's something else that they ask for. Oh yeah, and then they ask for like your articles of organization, so like the actual seal of your LLC and possibly EIN number. Those are like the 3 things that they ask for. I recently just did one for another one of my businesses, so I'm waiting for that to come back, and I just had to submit those 3. Now, when you want to get into like the economical one, they're going to ask to see all your tax information, and they're going to go back to probably 7 years. And anybody knows I don't keep no W-2 for no 7 years, 7 years ago. So that was kind of difficult for me. So I just went to the one that was kind of simple, where they only ask for 3 major things, and that's it. But make sure on your resume that you submit to them, that you have your business information up there, what you do as a business owner, say for instance, you're the CEO, what's your duties as a CEO of your own business? They're gonna ask for all that stuff because they wanna know exactly what you do. But I know the women's certification one is free. I know the Hub Zone one, is free, and I know this Mr. 8A is free too as well. So some of those are free.
Love it. Will you drop those in the chat, please, Miss Tiara?
Yes, ma'am.
Thank you for your biggest takeaway too, Miss Tiara, and for your gold nuggets that you always are so willing to share.
Thank you, ma'am. But
Yes,
yeah, I'll be
ma'am.
dropping it with the funding.
Gotcha. All right. Before I move on to takeaways to the next two, I see your hand, Dallas. You got a question?
I do.
What's up?
How can I leverage the minority funding since I'm not a woman?
Just the same way that you would go on the SBA site and apply to be a woman-owned business, you can just apply to be a minority-owned business.
Okay.
Yep. So you're
Okay.
good. You could do the same thing and just be a minority-owned business.
Okay.
That's a good question. A good question. I'm telling you. And because I'm doing a coaching program for women right now. So most of the stuff I'm talking about is geared toward women. But I remember y'all guys. I had a guy call me out on Instagram today. He was like, I need that too. I was like,
Yeah.
we got you. We got you. All
Yeah,
right.
There's a lot of great funding for women because they want us to have a whole lot more diversity as far as women entrepreneurs.
Yes.
It's always like for a male like myself is always trying to find that same funding or find that same collaboration to get that same funding as well. So
That's what's up, Dallas. It's important. Thank you for pointing that out.
no problem.
Miss Sonia Jones. Appreciate you being on the call. You want to give us your biggest takeaway tonight, lady? Got a new business starting up.
Yes, the biggest one for me, we have a business plan, but after, hearing your 10 points for the business plan, it's not as strong as I thought it was. So I definitely need to go in and revamp that. That was my main thing.
All right. And Miss Charlotte Davis, CEO of Lay's Beautiful Boutique. Lay, you got a biggest takeaway for us tonight?
You did my government name.
I gotta put the full government out there sometime.
Well, yes, ma'am. My biggest takeaways is always when you get stuff about, the grant sites, because like you said, finding a grant is kind of rough and tough these days.
Mm-hmm.
And as well as learning something new about the Amazon, selling on Amazon. I didn't know that part either, that you said about the Black Business Accelerator.
Mm-hmm.
So that was my biggest takeaway as well. And I didn't know about the Chamber of Commerce either. So it's like a lot of stuff I learned tonight that I didn't even consider in the beginning. And two, I have to work on a better business plan as well. So I mean, I got a lot from tonight. So educational always with meetings and stuff.
Yes. Thank you, Miss Lay, for sharing, and thank y'all for joining. Thank everybody for joining tonight. And I got you. As always, I love y'all. I have the utmost respect and appreciation for you as people, as entrepreneurs. I pray that God will continue to bless your businesses and that they will just flourish. If there's any way at all that I can help you, support you, just know that you got your girl's heart and support. And I'm here for you when you need me. Until next time, peace out.